Hello, everyone. My name is Abigail, and I'm a 30-year-old with quite the story to share. Grab your favorite snacks because this is going to be an engaging journey. My life has been a roller coaster of highs and lows, and frankly, the place I find myself in now is somewhere I never imagined possible. So, let's jump into the deep end. As I mentioned, I'm Abigail, just an ordinary person who's faced a myriad of challenges. Unlike many, I didn't have the guidance of my parents to navigate through life's complexities. I was an orphan, making my way solo in this world and learning to be self-sufficient from a young age. Once I hit 19, my life was a series of missteps and learning from them, which is pretty standard, I guess. But then, life decided to throw me a surprise. Against all odds, I landed a full scholarship to attend a reputable university. Imagine going from fearing a future without direction to being handed this unbelievable chance. I grabbed at it with both hands, choosing to double major in finance and media. It seemed like a powerful combination, even though I was pretty unsure about what I wanted to do. Graduation day came, and I felt invincible with my dual degrees and a fierce resolve. I was determined to make something of myself, ready to face whatever came my way. But then, the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, turning everything upside down. Plans were disrupted, and the future was more uncertain than ever. Like many around the globe, I had to quickly adjust. I pivoted towards the digital realm, exploring remote work opportunities. Surprisingly, my skills in affiliate marketing and content creation began to shine. My education in finance and media became invaluable in this new digital age. And that's when things started to get really interesting. As I dived deeper into the online world, I discovered new opportunities and ways to thrive despite the chows around us. Join me as I share the twists and turns of this adventure, navigating through the unexpected and making the most out of the hand I've been dealt. I stumbled upon something monumental, and my efforts began to yield significant results. Climbing the ranks, I transformed into an emerging businesswoman, gaining not only wealth but also a profound sense of confidence and self-assurance. Now, let's dive deeper into the tale, which only grows more intriguing from here. In the midst of my thrilling journey through the online world, leveraging my skills in affiliate marketing, I met Frank, a man who brought about a significant turn in my life story. Initially, our connection was strong. We shared laughs and embarked on adventures, making every moment feel like an exhilarating escapade. However, the story takes a twist. Merely 5 months after meeting, we impulsively decided to marry. Looking back, I see how hastily we made that decision. After all, 5 months hardly seems sufficient to truly understand someone, much less commit to a lifetime with them. Despite the rapid pace of our romance, I value the lessons learned from the experience. Every decision, whether positive or negative, shapes us in some way, teaching us valuable life lessons. Among other things, I learned the importance of taking time to deeply understand someone before making lifelong commitments. Now, regarding Frank's initial reaction to my career, he somewhat dismissed it, suggesting I was merely dabbling in some online stuff. Little did he know, my online venture was on the brink of massive success. I'm talking about viral posts that dramatically increased both my followers and my bank account. Suddenly, I was earning substantial amounts of money, surpassing even my husband's income. Yes, you heard that correctly. This development stirred quite a bit of drama. Frank, bless his heart, struggled with the situation. The man who once thought of my job as a quaint hobby was now faced with my soaring financial success. His pride seemed to diminish by the day, reminiscent of a reality show drama unfolding in real life. Then, one day, Frank came to me with his doubts. "Abigail, do you think your online career is truly sustainable?" he asked, suggesting it might be time to look for something more stable. Despite his skepticism, this journey taught me not only about the value of perseverance in the face of doubt, but also about the importance of believing in one's path, even when others question its validity. "Are you implying that my work isn't valuable?" "I'm actually earning more than you," I retorted, somewhat taken aback by his insinuation. It seemed to strike a nerve. I could almost see the tension pulsating in his forehead. "No, that's not what I mean," Frank hurried to clarify. "I was thinking you might benefit from something more reliable, like a regular job, or maybe even staying at home to manage household matters. You know, more in line with traditional roles." "Frank, you have no clue about the effort I've invested in this venture. I've dedicated countless hours to building my online presence, connecting with audiences, and yes, making a substantial income. It's been a journey of overcoming obstacles, mastering new skills, and personal growth, I explained, hoping to make him understand. Sure, but can you call it a real job? It's not as if you're making a huge income, and frankly, it's a bit awkward explaining what you do to others, he countered, not hiding his skepticism. Embarrassing? Really? This is my passion, my dedication, and my achievement we're discussing. I'm proud of what I've accomplished, and I'm not about to discard it all because you fail to recognize its worth, I responded, my frustration growing. I just think we should be more pragmatic, considering the uncertainty in the world right now. Staying at home could allow you to focus on making our living space better and handling domestic responsibilities, Frank suggested, missing the point entirely. Frank, I'm not going to sideline my aspirations and the progress I've made to fit into the role of a housewife. I deserve a fulfilling career that I take pride in. I deserve to pursue my own dreams and goals. If you can't support me in that, then perhaps it's time we reconsider our future together, I stated firmly. Our argument lasted for hours, and my patience with him dwindled. Before marrying Frank, I had my own place, which I then rented out for extra income. Given Frank's current stance, I started to question my decision to stay with him, even suggesting I might return to my own apartment until he resolved his insecurities and accepted my success. Okay, Abigail, I'm sorry. I was wrong to question your career. Please, don't leave. Forgive me, he pleaded, his tone shifting unexpectedly. His sudden change of heart caught me off guard. It seemed too straightforward, a moment that hinted at underlying issues yet to surface. Despite his promise of support, this conversation was a clear indication of the challenges we'd face ahead. Just when I thought we could move past our disagreement, the situation escalated the very next day. Instead of ninjas, I found myself facing a coordinated ambush by Frank and my mother-in-law, Emma. Both were armed with harsh words, criticizing my decision to ignore Frank's advice and continue with my online business, which they dismissed as trivial. Their confrontation was unexpected, and their words cut deep, leaving me emotionally wounded and overwhelmed with a sense of defeat. This was a job I had poured my heart and soul into, building it from the ground up, only to see it dismissed and belittled by those who were meant to be my pillars of support. But the assault on my aspirations didn't end with just words. They piled on household chores and tasks to an extent that left me drained, with little to no energy to devote to my career. It felt like a deliberate effort to undermine my achievements and shatter my resolve. As time passed, the effects of their relentless pursuit began to show. My business, once flourishing, started to suffer, leading to a decline in revenue. My online presence, a source of pride and confidence, was fading away. The situation had become my worst nightmare, a cycle of demoralization and manipulation from which escape seemed impossible. Every attempt to work was overshadowed by the barrage of insults and unreasonable demands they placed on me, making it hard to breathe, let alone focus on salvaging my career. The constant belittlement took a toll on my self-esteem, leading me to doubt my worth and question my capabilities, wondering if I was indeed nothing more than a housewife without purpose. Caught in this dilemma, part of me yearned to break free, to return to my own space where I could reclaim my independence and rebuild my life. Yet fear anchored me in place, the fear of their reactions, of facing the unknown alone. I longed for the days when I felt unstoppable and capable of overcoming any obstacle with confidence and determination. Despite the adversity, I knew deep down that surrendering to their narrative wasn't an option. I needed to find a way to reclaim my strength, to remind myself of the person I was before the turmoil, resilient, ambitious, and capable of weathering any storm. The journey ahead would be challenging, but it was a battle for my identity, my dreams, and my future. Everyone has their breaking point, and mine arrived with the force of a thunderstorm. The constant demands from Frank, pushing me to prepare gourmet dinners only to dismiss them and demand I start again, were unbearable. From morning till night, I was trapped in a cycle of cooking, leaving no room for my work or myself. It felt like a twisted form of control, a way to keep me subdued and anxious. On that fateful day, I reached the edge of my tolerance. I confronted him, refusing to be treated as nothing more than a servant at his beck and call. His reaction was explosive, more furious than I had ever witnessed. And then he crossed a line he had never crossed before. He struck me. That moment of impact was a jarring wake-up call, making the severity of my situation crystal clear. As I hit the ground, a fierce realization took hold of me, acknowledging the abuse I had endured for far too long. In a mix of anger and fear, and without a moment's hesitation, I found myself wielding a knife in defense, my hand shaking but my determination firm. Frank's apologies, filled with regret and pleas for understanding, meant nothing. The excuses were all too familiar, and I understood that there was no turning back from such betrayal. With the knife still in my hand, I declared my resolve to leave, and this time, it was for good. Packing my essentials hastily, I made it clear that any attempt to stop me would lead to me calling the authorities. As I left, Frank's tears and pleas only solidified my decision. I could no longer inhabit that suffocating, toxic environment. Driving away, I headed back to my own house, a sanctuary that was thankfully still available. It was there, in the peace of my own space, that I allowed myself to fully grasp the gravity of what I had escaped. The tears that followed were a mixture of relief and sorrow, a release from the tension that had built up over time. I had always known, from the stories and advice scattered through self-help books, that once someone resorts to physical violence, the pattern is likely to continue. I wasn't going to stick around to witness how much worse things could get. It was time to take back control over my life, to reclaim the independence and strength I had worked so hard to achieve. The road ahead was daunting, filled with uncertainty and the remnants of fear, but I was determined to navigate it on my terms. Stepping into a future of my own making was the first step towards healing and rediscovery. A journey back to myself, and the power I had momentarily forgotten was mine. Sitting in the sanctuary of my own home, I confronted the harsh reality I had been evading, the depth of the abuse I had suffered. It was a moment of raw vulnerability as I let the tears flow, a cathartic release of the anguish that had been festering inside me for too long. Amid this emotional upheaval, my phone rang relentlessly, each call's a reminder of the world I was trying to distance myself from. It was Emma, persistent in her efforts to reach me. When I finally picked up, weary and drained, her voice carried a tone of sorrow, almost resignation. She implored me to reconsider, to return to Frank and attempt to repair our fractured relationship. Her words, intended to persuade, only echoed the manipulative tactics that had imprisoned me. I was incredulous at her audacity, her suggestion that love could somehow rectify the deep-rooted issues. With resolute clarity, I rebuked her, expressing my determination to sever ties with that tormenting past and insisting that they leave me be. However, Emma's demeanor took a menacing turn as she threatened me with financial repercussions, alleging that Frank could claim my hard-earned wealth due to the absence of a prenuptial agreement. Stunned into silence, I ended the call, a wave of fear washing over me. The realization dawned on me that escaping their clutches wouldn't be as straightforward as I hoped. The thought of them potentially invading my sanctuary, compelling me back into that nightmare, was unbearable. With a heavy heart, I acknowledged the grim necessity of my situation. I needed to vanish, to prioritize my safety above all else, even if it meant abandoning my home. This decision, fraught with uncertainty and fear, was pivotal. It signified my refusal to remain ensnared in their manipulative grasp any longer. Leaving behind the house, the scene of so much pain and deception, was daunting. Yet it was a step I was compelled to take, a leap towards reclaiming my freedom and embarking on a journey of healing. It was a testament to my resolve to liberate myself from the chains that had bound me, to chart a course towards a future defined by my own terms. Without hesitation, I left what could only be described as a dwelling of dread at the crack of dawn. Packing the essentials, clothing, footwear, personal care items, I decided to leave behind anything that might remind me of my past ordeal. The decision to sell the house was swift, a firm step towards ending that harrowing chapter of my life. With support from a handful of loyal friends, the house found a new owner within a week. This sale wasn't just a financial lifeline. It represented the severance of the final tie to those who had sought to control me, offering the fresh start I yearned for. I relocated to a quaint town, home to just 30,000 people, a stark contrast to my previous life, yet exactly what I needed. This smaller community promised anonymity and the serene environment I craved for healing and rebuilding my strength. Despite taking measures to block Frank and Emma from my life, the fear of them tracking me down persisted. Yet, I began to adapt to my new life, focusing on rejuvenating my online business and restoring my self-worth. As months passed, a semblance of security started to form in this new chapter, until Frank's shadow loomed again. He resorted to creating new social media profiles to reach out, his messages a tumultuous blend of rage, desperation, and manipulative pleas. Yet, I remained vigilant, blocking each attempt, determined not to let his presence derail my progress. My resilience paid off as my online venture began to thrive anew, bolstering my confidence and reinforcing my belief in my ability to surmount adversity. In this newfound solitude, I plotted my next moves carefully, contemplating strategies for legally separating from Frank while safeguarding my finances. The idea of a post-nuptial agreement crossed my mind, though I was skeptical of its feasibility given Frank's intentions to keep me under his thumb. Frank's persistence intensified, with daily attempts to breach my newfound peace through new accounts. Despite this, I fortified my resolve, ensuring my location remained a secret and wrapping myself in a cloak of anonymity. This period of isolation became a time of empowerment, a testament to my independence and resilience, away from the destructive forces that once sought to stifle my potential. Looking ahead, I knew that navigating a divorce while protecting my earnings would be challenging, especially with Frank's relentless efforts to reconnect. Yet this ordeal had instilled in me a profound sense of strength and determination. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, committed to living life on my own terms and free from the shadows of my past. Despite Frank's escalating threats and desperate messages, I chose to ignore them. However, one day, his words sent a chill down my spine as he threatened to burn down my house if I didn't return. Shocked by his brazenness, yet determined not to be intimidated, I blocked him once again and cut off all communication. After a brief period of silence, it seemed he might have finally understood that I wouldn't be manipulated any longer. Unexpectedly, a week later, a friend from my previous town sent a startling image, mugshots of Frank and Emma, caught attempting to set fire to my former residence. A quick online search confirmed their arrest for arson, and due to Emma's reckless admission that they thought the house was occupied, charges of conspiracy to commit murder were added to their list of offenses. The irony of their plan backfiring was not lost on me. The new owner thwarted their efforts, preventing a disaster. The boldness of their attempt left me reeling with a whirlwind of emotions, shock at their audacity, anger at their actions, and relief that they were now incarcerated, facing the consequences of their deeds. Their impending trial, set for the distant future, meant they were confined to a cell, halting any further attempts to harass me. This development stirred a complex mix of feelings. While part of me remained wary of the threat they once posed, a more significant part of me felt a profound sense of relief, knowing they were finally being brought to justice. Currently, I'm collaborating with a lawyer to safeguard my interests as I proceed with the divorce from Frank, hopeful for a future free from their toxic influence. I'm reaching out for support and advice on fully disentangling myself from their clutches. If anyone has insights on navigating this process, please share. Thank you for lending an ear to my story.